Thanks to everybody again for joining us for our second webinar in our incentive design series. We appreciate you taking the time out of your afternoon to learn about choosing the most motivational award types for your audience and for your program. So let's go ahead and get started. If you did miss last week's webinar, which was all about CIM or channel incentive management software, tips for improving your channel management, tips for improving your incentive program using software, you can check out our YouTube. It will go better than that span of words that I just said out of my mouth. But we will send out that link here in the chat. We will also send it in the PowerPoint slides after with this deck. So please check that out if you have not already. But for today, I am joined by my esteemed panel, Kelly and Stephen here. I am Rachel Butts, the Director of Solution Design at Brightspot. Kelly, Stephen, y'all want to introduce yourself to the crowd?
Sure. Kelly Coons, Director of Incentives here at Brightspot. Transition to you.
I'm Stephen Curl, Senior Program Manager at Brightspot.
Thank you both for being here. And as you can see, they are both IPs, incentive professionals, meaning they have lots and lots of fabulous expertise to develop these solutions for you all as well. So let's get right in. All right, so as you're going to be hearing from us for the next 30 minutes, we want to make sure we also hear from you. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop those into the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. So, what do we have for you today? Let's start with you, Kelly. A couple random questions to begin with, super random. What are some of the most common award types that we are seeing in the industry?
Great question, Rachel. As we talk about different award types today and which ones are most motivating for different audiences and different program types, I want to pause and just mention the ones that we see most commonly in the incentive industry, starting with your upper left screen there in prepaid or open loop cards, followed by travel. You see eGift cards there on the far right, also called closed loop cards. Experiential awards, you see our friend there in the race car. And then last but certainly not least, merchandise.
Absolutely. Now that you've covered some of the common award types, is there one that you would say is most motivational?
That depends on so many things. If there was a silver bullet of an answer, we'd give it to you, but it depends on a lot of different variables, and we'll take a look at what those are so that we can work to design a program and an award type that's the best fit.
Absolutely. So we'll throw it over to Stephen here before we get started on the different award types. I think we do have to ask one specific age-old question, and that is cash king? We didn't see it on the last slide, so what do you think?
Yeah, that's the thing, Rachel, is if you ask someone if they want cash, they're going to say yes. However, it's not the most memorable award type. So we'll go over some of the different reasons why non-cash awards are more memorable than cash awards. And the first one is evaluability. And what that means is it has a higher perceived value than cash. And it also lets you get that daydream value. So it gives you something to aspire to. For example, if at the end of a program, you know you can win the trip of a lifetime or the ultimate home theater system, you'll be more motivated to achieve that goal than you would if it was just cash at the end of the program. So it gives you just that daydream value. And a lot of our catalogs actually have a wish list feature where you can add items to your catalog and then build points up to that. So it gives you a goal to achieve at the end of the program. And then the next one is justifiability. This is what I like to call the guilt-free splurge. So if you were to get cash, there's a good chance that you would just spend that on your bills, pay your credit card down, maybe buy gas or groceries. When you get the points on a merchandise catalog or a gift card catalog, you're more likely to splurge on something. And when you do that, it'll be more memorable. So you could buy that designer watch that you've always wanted, a new pair of shoes. And the goal is here that we want our participants to enjoy that award. We don't want them to just pay their bills with the award. So that guilt-free splurge really does go a long way. When you think back on the program and what you did to earn that award, you'll remember when you look at that new fancy watch that you got that from the sales incentive program.
Absolutely. I actually remember our vice president of sales told a story about the large TV that he got as one of his first long time ago first awards for sales. So I remember even his sales award there. Next up is separability, which is very much exactly what it sounds like, separating that award from your compensation. So those non-cash awards are going to deliver more motivation and recognition because they don't get mixed up with compensation. The cash inevitably will turn the extra award into expected compensation, and it can then create entitlement. You can give that cash, but help you if you take it away from everyone after that. Those non-cash spiffs can be turned on and off without any sort of entitlement problems. So for a quarterly sales spiff, for example, a trip or merchandise prize is maybe not going to be expected the next quarter. You can get away with, changing up those awards or potentially not offering it. It's going to be clearly separate. And then another benefit is that social reinforcement, kind of back to that trophy value with that example I gave about Michael. People feel free to talk about those non-cash rewards in a way that could really be inappropriate or is generally socially inappropriate to talk about your cash compensation. It's really unacceptable to brag about your bonus or your commissions, but others might be intrigued about, your trip to Maui that you took or the flat screen that they can all come over and watch that big game on. Non-cash awards provide that tangible symbol of achievement, and it's easily recognizable. So it does have that trophy value.
Yeah, you can't post cash on Instagram.
Well, at least it's not very couth if you do.
Which brings us to our fifth benefit of non-cash awards, being memorable. And one of my favorite expressions in the industry is halo effect, which is exactly what a memorable award is. A well-designed program will give you an award not just to work towards, but one that will incentivize and motivate for a long time to come because of the halo effect that it leaves. That halo effect being a long-lasting effect on performance, something that creates a memory and an emotion, a feeling towards the brand and the sponsoring client. In addition, it's a positive brand association, not just in the moment of redemption, but for a long time to come, ideally years, just like that flat screen TV example. And last but certainly not least, non-cash awards are easily promotable, or at least much more easy to promote than cash. Like Stephen said, you can't post a picture of cash on Instagram. You can, but probably shouldn't. It's a lot harder to motivate with a picture of cash than it is with something that has daydream value, something to think about. You see these nice graphics on the screen. They catch your attention. They make an impression, provide that visual interest, not just for your eyes, but also for your brain, and then your motivation to engage in the program, to sell, to achieve, so that that non-cash award becomes easily promotable and create some buzz.
Exactly. There's one thing at Brightspot that we're always harping on is communicating, and this gives you something absolutely beautiful to communicate, to incentivize.
Yeah, nice creative theme.
Absolutely. Thank you. So after we've just talked about, the benefits of those non-cash awards, we're going to go back to that question about what's the most motivational award. We answered that by saying it depends, and you're probably asking us, it depends on what exactly? And at Brightspot, we're always going to take a step back and consider the variables, the who, what, why, where, and when of your program to really build the most motivational awards for your audience. So Stephen and Kelly, can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the first thing we always consider is location. And like Kelly said earlier, we wish there was a silver bullet magic solution for every program, but we really do want to specifically build for each audience. So one of the first things we look at is the location. Where are your recipients? And then we want to make sure that we reach your recipients. So a couple of examples of that are for open loop Visa cards. There are prohibited countries that we are not legally allowed to send cards to. So we need to keep that in consideration to make sure that everyone in the program has award coverage. So we would need to make sure to offer multiple award types in a program like that. And then on merchandise specifically, we want to make sure that at least has in region or in country fulfillment, because you don't want to be spending a ton of money on shipping and fees. So those are things to consider when you look at international merchandise. And then you also definitely don't want to be like that snail mail right there and taking forever for your awards to get there. So typically for international programs, if we're going to do gift cards, we would recommend electronic delivery just to make sure that recipient is getting the award in a timely manner.
It's a great
So
point.
true.
That immediacy of award can really help drive home that halo effect as well.
You know, I'm just imagining trying to order a MacBook Pro off of like Best Buy in America and shipping it to Europe or something and having the wrong plugs and just, you know, disaster striking. So all things you might not consider if you just purchase from your own distributors.
Yeah, location sounds obvious, but not always. Which brings us to our next factor when it comes to considering the most motivating award type. And that's something that we talk about here at Bright Spot a lot, which is knowing your audience. You know who you're talking to, know who you're incentivizing. So what are the things that make up an audience? Those questions that you should be asking are really two things, starting with demographics. Just who are they in general? Are they internal employees? Are they customers? Are these channel sales reps in an environment that tends to be a little bit more fragmented, as opposed to employees who tend to be much more engaged with programs and their employer? Those are things like age, gender, income, functional role, role title, and of course, level. And when it comes to career, we also want to look at the number of people in a program to make sure that there's enough of a breadth of award to reach enough people to engage in the program. We also want to consider number of locations across the globe or the states, that being countries, regions, and divisions, and how the participant base is divided amongst those. The second element of consideration are psychographics. And so how are those different than demographics? Demographics might be the characteristics, but psychographics are what people value, what matters to them, because that will help determine their level of engagement with the program now and in the future. How much are they motivated right now? Are they intrinsically motivated? That's just who they are. Or will external motivating factors help drive their engagement, drive the needle further? And then, of course, those are things like their attitudes, their opinions, their interests, the things that they value as people.
So you're saying in order to build a program that motivates, we need to understand what actually what people are motivated by, right?
Yes, that's the quote of the day right there.
Yeah, and one more thing to consider is the program type and structure, because not all programs are the same. I would say consumer programs and rebate programs are pretty similar. You have very few touch points with the consumer. You want to make sure that they know what the award is, what the action is to get that award, and then give them that single award. Choice isn't really key on that. They're not going to earn points and go to a catalog and redeem for something. You want a simple one-to-one offer, do this and get this. So for example, a branded Visa card would be perfect for a rebate or a consumer promotion, because they know that they'll just get that in the mail or via email after they complete the intended action. Whereas with a channel incentive or an employee incentive, you'll have more frequency of contact with those people so they can earn points over time. So they can build up those points to achieve a goal. So a good fit for that would be an eGift catalog or merchandise. So they can have options to choose what they want. Just keep in mind that those people, they do want choice. They want to be able to select the award they want. Whereas with the consumer and rebate, they just need that simple, do this, get that. So just keep it simple for consumer and rebate, and then give the people choice for channel incentives and employee incentives. And then the structure also matters. Open-ended is the same structure as a points program. They can earn points over time and then redeem those for items they want. Going back to that wish list item, you can add something to your wish list and then try to save up points to get to that. Whereas with a closed program, you probably want more of that one-to-one ratio. At the end of this program date, you will get this. So keep it simple on a closed program. And then in plateaus and sweeps, plateaus, you kind of want to unlock new options on those plateaus. So make it exciting, where if you get to tier 2, it unlocks new award choices. So that could be like an experiential award or a travel award that the people on tier 1 don't even have access to. So you would you would tease what tier 2 has available, but don't make it available until you get there. And then with sweeps, the same thing. You want to build excitement. So you want a theme around that sweepstakes, whether it's giving away the ultimate home theater system, a trip to the Super Bowl, whatever you think fits into the product for the sweepstakes. Just make sure you have some sort of theme that's promotable, because you want to make sure that the creative content matches what the goal is in the program.
That makes sense. Thank you, Stephen. All right, so now that we've covered those key variables, we're going to dig into the true meat of this programming. We're going to discuss the most common award types that Kelly mentioned at the top of the hour and include the pros, cons of each of those, and then the recommended best fit for your audience and for your program type. So let's dive in.
Yeah, and this is usually the gift card type or the award type that we lead with is eGift card, because the fulfillment is simple, it's secure, it's delivered via email. We know it gets there. If for some reason it doesn't arrive, we can always resend it. And these are closed loop gift cards. So think of a closed loop gift card as a single merchant gift card, like a Target or a Best Buy. It's a gift card that's only good at that location. And then I mentioned eGift. So we prefer virtual delivery. We do have physical cards as well, but those are declining, especially in the post-COVID world. People are just used to receiving things digitally. A few examples of where physical might be applicable is where you have a team leader who's physically handing out cards in an office, or maybe a regional sales manager who's visiting locations. Those are two scenarios where you might consider a physical card, but for the most part, we recommend eGift cards just because of the cost saving, it's eco-friendly, and you know it's getting to the intended recipient. There are some cons to gift cards. Merchant availability can be an issue, especially internationally. Gift card coverage in the US is pretty broad. Almost every major retailer and restaurant has their own gift card, but the adoption rate hasn't been as high internationally. So when you go into smaller countries, you might have some issues with merchant availability, in which case we would suggest an alternate award type. But I mentioned some of the pros already, the speed of delivery, the security, especially in the US, the flexibility of choice. We typically curate a catalog and offer anywhere from 30 to 45 merchants to choose from. For example, you might be a Home Depot person or a Lowe's person. We would offer both, so you can choose the department store that you want. So it's good to have choice in that. And then best fit, honestly, all audiences. It fits any type of program. But specifically budget conscious ones. So think about a smaller program where someone's only earning $10 to $25 at a time. That's the perfect fit for an eGift card, because they can earn their reward, earn their points, and then redeem for a single low value gift card. So it's a perfect fit for that. And then under cons, there's one more: no branding. And that is an issue on physical gift cards. You're not allowed to co-brand a physical gift card. They won't let you put your logo on their company card. So I can't put my company's logo on a Best Buy card with good reason. But luckily with digital gift cards, the eGift delivery method lets us brand that. So what we always do is we have a program header. So we make sure that the program branding is on there. And if you notice in the body of that email, the to redeem and the dollar amount are also in the company colors. So we make sure the branding is consistent throughout that template. And it displays the merchant that you're receiving right there. And then one new feature that we just got is you can now embed videos in the email. So you could put a message from the leadership. So if you were having a company travel program, the invitation could be an eGift card with a message from the CEO inviting you to join the team in Maui or whatever it might be. Or it could be from a sales leader reaching out to the partner sales network and congratulating them on a great year or something like that. So it's a nice personal touch that we can add, and you do get that brand touch point that you didn't traditionally get with physical gift card delivery.
I like that cross promotion there. Nice, Steven.
Yeah, that's a great touch. Branding here is so important, especially in the digital world that we're living in. That brand impression matters more now than ever. I am curious though, I have one tangential question. Carl, what would you say is your most memorable favorite closed loop award you've ever received?
That's what I love about closed loop is you always have a choice, and I'm a bit of a sneakerhead. So I recently got a Nike gift card and got myself some new Jordans. So that was an easy answer for me.
Custom or no?
No, I don't go the custom route. I don't have the design skills.
Too many choices there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I need it curated.
Well, from eGift communications and eGift cards to prepaid cards, Kelly, please explain the difference between the two.
This is a lot. So I'm going to look to you two to keep me honest on time. Before we dive into this, I think it's so important that we just establish the vernacular when it comes to all these different card types. We heard Stephen say eGift, virtual, closed loop. So often we have prospects or clients that say, I just need a gift card, but it turns out they don't mean closed loop at all. They actually need a prepaid card. So in the world of prepaid, that is truly an open loop product, meaning that it is available to be used at just about any merchant. When you think of your Visa card, your MasterCard, Amex, that's an open loop product as opposed to a closed loop, which is a gift card. It's safe to say that just by a hair, prepaid cards are our most popular award type here at Brightspot. One, because of a lot of the program types that we manage, but also because it's such an easy to grasp concept. We all have debit cards and credit cards in our wallet. So it's an award type that many people are very comfortable with. So it makes it very popular. Let's see. So I know I said prepaid, but there's quite a few different products underneath the prepaid umbrella. See, we can take a look at those next. So the first one is a physical card. That's the physical plastic that you're used to carrying in your wallet every day. A lot of pros to that. One that I just mentioned is easily accepted, widely accepted, easy to use, lots of comfort. A term that we like to use here at Brightspot is that wallet branding, so that every day when you're opening your wallet, you're seeing a co-branded card. You're seeing that sponsor logo, which is so important. Makes a great brand impression on a constant basis. Some of the cons to a physical card, are international delivery, because it can cost quite a bit to ship a piece of plastic across the pond. So that shipping cost can add up. We've probably all gotten physical prepaid cards at some point in our lives where there were only $2 or $3 left on the card when you're done spending it. And it's hard to find a cup of coffee for less than $6 these days. So that we refer to that as breakage. So those last few dollars don't actually get spent, which can be a bad user experience to a certain extent. And then of course, there's just the impersonal perception that cash carries. So where are these cards a best fit? Well, a lot of places, but we typically recommend them, as Stephen mentioned earlier, in consumer programs, rebates, definitely a domestic audience as opposed to shipping internationally, but especially in the channel space. This tends to be a really nice fit there as well, in addition to consumer programs.
And Kelly, before you go on, you mentioned co-branding. Can you talk a little bit about what that option is?
Yes. So if you think about it, all prepaid cards are branded with a logo, that logo being Visa, MasterCard, or Amex. The co-brand then becomes the client logo or the sponsoring logo on with the card. Great question, because co-brand is not custom, it's just the addition of a logo.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a nice segue to the next card type, which is a virtual card, a virtual product. It's essentially just like a plastic card, but it is only able to be used in most cases digitally. You can print out the email, if you will, with the barcode on it, but for this discussion, we'll talk about their virtual capabilities. As you can imagine, anytime QR codes were everywhere. These virtual cards can come with a little bit of a learning curve. I open the email on my desktop, but I need to add it to my mobile wallet on my phone. So just knowing how to best interact with this product can have a little bit of a learning curve, but the good news is if you've done it once, it becomes like riding a bike after that. Again, just like a physical card, a virtual card can feel even less personal because there's not even anything to touch, but it feels like the amount of effort in the person sending the card was the bare minimum. So that can feel not great. And of course, there's always risk of spam filters when it comes to delivering a virtual product. But then again, on the other side, the pros of a virtual card are that wallet branding. I know I'm in my mobile wallet a few times a week and I see different logos, which is a great impression. Even though it's not a physical wallet, that digital experience gets reiterated over and over again. And then of course, there's a ton of flexibility with the where the award can be spent, where the card can be spent. And Stephen mentioned the branding capabilities of the email. So this is also a product that could come with a message from the CEO to make a better impression. These are a great fit internationally because of their wide reach and deliverability. But we would still recommend a physical card for domestic programs, just for better brand impression. And then last but not least, and should I pause there for any questions?
Well, I was just going to say, those virtual cards, the currency can be, the money on it can be used in different currencies with a conversion charge. So that is part of the reason that it is great for those international audiences.
It's a great point. And I just realized how little time we have left. So reloadable, I will say, is very similar to a physical card, except that it is not single use. The funds can be loaded time and time again, usually for a 2-year span before the card needs to be reissued. And you've seen under each one of these 3 times, top 3 spend. I think it's worth mentioning, and why we spoke about the benefits of non-cash to begin with, because time and time again, when it comes to an open loop product, we see that the top 3 categories of spend are groceries, gas, and fast food. When it comes to an incentive program, that's not exactly the halo effect and trophy value that we're going for.
Very true. Thank you, Kelly. We'll speed along to merchandise.
Yeah, merchandise actually has the highest trophy value according to studies. So you'll remember your merchandise redemption more than anything else. It's great for programs where you can bank points over time and add that to the wish list that I referenced earlier. So it's definitely a good fit for that. Some of the drawbacks, though, are inventory management can get expensive, the lack of immediacy. It can take a while for these items to ship. Not every supplier is like Amazon, where it's going to get there within 2 business days free of charge. You're going to have to pay for shipping on a lot of these items. But some of the pros are obviously, like I said earlier, you can have exciting awards and that trophy value and halo effect where you'll remember what you redeemed it for. It's great for that because you can achieve that goal and then redeem for your flat screen TV or whatever it might be, and it'll be memorable.
I think we're going to have a lot of flat screen TVs purchased from all of our programs today.
Yeah, not sponsored, but maybe someday.
Yeah.
See, so maybe not last. Well, one of the award types that we've definitely seen trending in the last 18 months is experiential travel. And what is that exactly? Well, those are your experiences, obviously, but your bucket list adventures, individual travel, maybe you and a spouse or just you and your family, not group travel, but individual travel. And then if it's not a once in a lifetime experience, then those local experiences like hot air balloon rides, driving a Ferrari can be a really great fit. I'll say the best fit for these, just cutting to the chase, are really overlay programs. They're a great way to augment an existing program with something to promote. So that daydream value in, a bungalow over the ocean in the Maldives.
Mm-hmm. And then last, but certainly not least, I'll quickly breeze through this. It wouldn't be a webinar without a little shameless plug of our own product. At Brightspot, we did develop a product called the Go Card, which is a physical filtered Visa card. What filtered means is basically it goes from the thousands of merchants that you can use, or millions of merchants where you can use a Visa, to really travel specific merchants like hotels, airlines, cruise ships, and entertainment venues. We'd like to see this as the best of both worlds. It allows the recipient the power to really curate their own experience while eliminating that need to individually fulfill per winner, resulting in the winner hopefully getting exactly what they want out of their travel award. So ask us if you have any more questions about the lovely Go Card.
All right, well, just a couple of things as takeaways, things to keep in mind, of all the award types that we've covered when it comes to motivating, and then of course some of the trends that we've seen, go big to stand out or go rich to stand out. We've seen award offers increasing over the last year, but now more so than ever because it takes so much more to gain mind share. So larger payouts, overlay programs like a fighter jet ride along. Yes, that is a thing. And then something else to consider when selecting a motivating award is not just the sales rep, the employee, but think about it, who's at home. The other day I got a picture of someone who won a jet ski and she sent it to us with her granddaughter on top, writing her awards. It's not always about the person that you think it's about. So consider the folks at home.
Absolutely. And we are at 2:30. We'll just wrap up really quickly here. We've got one question in, so if you can stick around, please do. Otherwise, we'll follow up directly. But just to quickly wrap up, always, always, always keep your audience in mind, from demographics to psychographics and everything in between. Your award needs to be focused on that end user. Otherwise, it will not motivate. Consider the length and structure of your program. The awards you're providing should be equivalent to the sale or activity you're incentivizing. Your payouts should also occur in a timely manner and should correspond to the length of your sales cycle. Don't forget those benefits of non-cash awards. They do outweigh the instant draw to cash. From trophy value, daydream value, and beyond. You're ultimately giving your winners a better experience with a non-cash award. And finally, to reiterate what Kelly just said, go big. The value of an award is diminishing with inflation and a crowded market. So use a non-cash award or a higher dollar value if you must to make a splash. So this is now, if you got a few minutes, please stick around for our Q&A. We do have one question I want to pass along to the team, but in the meantime, I'm going to put our helpful resources into the chat as well, so you can connect to those, our blog on motivating non-cash awards, and then our Bright Spot awards matrix, which we'll also be sending out with our follow-up after this presentation. So stick around for those. One question I would love to pose is, why not just offer all award types to provide the most power of choice to the participants? Great question.
May I take that one?
You may.
I think it's worth mentioning something that we call choice paralysis, because yes, there's something called too much choice. We want the experience to be smooth and easy, familiar, but not too much, because when you throw the kitchen sink at a program, it feels just like that, the kitchen sink.
That's a great, concise way to say it.
That's the same reason we curate our gift card catalog. If you have 200 options, you're just going to be overwhelmed and not know what to choose.
Absolutely. So let us help you find the most motivating award for your group.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to our panelists. We appreciate it. Sorry we went a few minutes over, but look out for our follow-up after this. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks so much.
Bye.